Jake Walden Band, we get around. They're going to clip that. But
oh, yeah, exactly.
Get around. Hey, everyone, I'm Kevin McLaughlin, and this is the Riffs.
And I'm Paul Robertson. This is the Rhythms Podcast. So
rock on. Welcome back, Paul. How you doing?
I'm doing a lot better since the last episode.
Me too. That last episode took a lot out of me. At least I think I cut a chunk out of my soul with that one.
One of your lives might be lost. Your 9 lives, I think, probably.
I hope not.
It's but you know what? That was a fun episode there. We definitely want to kind of give a little recap there as we're thanking again to Fonda Cash for coming on the show. She was more than an awesome guest. So
yeah, Fonda's great.
But we do have another guest here is just as equally as awesome. But before we get to our guest, I do have something that is a reference to last week's episode. That episode was sponsored by what? Do you remember what Fonda kept saying that episode
Bayer aspirin?
No. For you, maybe. So.
Oh, I'm not going to say that. I'm not saying that.
Well, you're not going to say that?
I'm not going to say that word.
You're not going to say that. What it's going to catch them all, right? Okay, how long does it take that friggin' unbutton this?
No compromising sound bites.
No compromise.
Look at that. He's so excited. I might say it. He's getting all hot.
Look at that. Look at that shirt, man.
You got a shirt made?
No, I didn't get a shirt made. I went to go look it up to see if it was already used or taken. I went and I found on Amazon that there was actually shirts that are made. It's called Chokimon.
That's insanity.
And it doesn't say, we'll have to take a picture and send it to Fonda. I just got it today. And I was like, I can't wait to wear this shirt to the show. Chokimon. Now, you got to tap them all because it's a reference to MMA fighting, I guess, right? But we had a different reference to the tagline. Is Chokimon, you got to, well, you fill in the blanks. Anyway, so there you go, Fonda. That's for you. Chokimon.
How crazy is that? We do that show, and then now there's t-shirts available. Like, why are we not getting a?
I know, man. We should be making these shirts.
Remuneration going on here.
Right. So anyway, let's welcome to the podcast our guest that's with us tonight, Jake Walden. How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing great. Thank you all for having me.
So
it's the real Jake Walden, everybody.
It's the real one. It's not my clone.
And you guys have got a little past history together, don't you?
Absolutely.
So
we do.
Quite a bit, actually.
We convened years ago at one of the many jams at Terra Firmata, and Kevin and I linked up, and we ended up playing in a band together for probably over a year, I would say.
On and off. We played separately and together in that band.
Separately and together, and then we kind of got our own things going together. We've done a couple of bills together, and we are both now IBC brothers. We've both done the treacherous freezing winter in Memphis.
Yes. So, and being an artist that you can't be labeled Southern because you're too far south to be from the South. Right. So I like that.
It's really just the islands at this point.
Right. Florida is souther than the South, whatever that means.
You went more north to be in the South.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Florida is so southern you have to drive north to get to the South.
It really is. If you're in Jacksonville, you're in the country. If you're down here, you're not. You're in the beach.
Right. So I was telling the story of how he and I met. We met on stage, which is my favorite way to meet everyone. And we're playing Southern Rock Night. And didn't even speak before the show started. We just started playing, and I'm sitting on stage going, oh, man, this guitar player is great. And then after the show, I found out this guy's name's Jake Walden, and he's like a recording artist. He's great. So that's how it all started.
I remember that. It's so crazy. I remember your Paul Reed Smith, and I remember I freaked out because not only over your playing, obviously, but I freaked out because you had a Soldano, and I was like, this guy gets it.
Yeah, I got to make up for everything else with a great gear.
Dude, it's all in the gear.
Are you what's the word? Jesus Christ, compensating. There you go. Thank you.
I'm compensating for something.
Yeah.
I'll let you figure out what it is.
Now it's so I have to say, Kevin, I wouldn't say Jake. I know you. I know like Fonda. I know of you, right? And I've seen you play many times here in Jupiter, right, over at Double Road or locally, right? So I think I've known about Jake longer than I've known about you. I mean, again, it's just because you're here locally, right? And I've seen shows. You'll go in there and play the double roads, and we'll get into some of this stuff here about about your music and your career. But like you come in there and now this is a few years ago. Now you're a fairly young guy, right?
Yeah, 26, the big 2-6.
And I'm like, holy shit! Look at this. And again, you're a kid to me, right? You're a kid to Kevin and I, right? And I'm like, holy shit! This kid's like just fucking just killing it and ripping it, and it was just amazing. I think it was actually may have been a blues competition night or something. I remember there was something. I remember looking back at Facebook. It wasn't that long ago, about the same time frame now. That I remember we were in Double Roads. You were playing. A guy from the Commodores showed up and was playing there.
Oh, it was the Blues Guitar Showcase, and they had like 5 different guitar players.
JP was
JP.
Yeah.
It was a guy from was it from the? I think he was from Chicago, wasn't it? Wasn't he in the band Chicago? I believe. Was it Jeff Medina or something? I can't remember his name.
It was. I know a big black guy, right? Yeah. Well, I don't know, but yeah, I think it was okay to say that. Anyway, but I mean, because he forced the blues. You know what happens if you force the blues, right?
Yes, you got to watch our Force the Blues episode.
Oh man, you can't force the blues.
See, you can't force the blues.
See, that's why he is the way he is.
Yeah, he don't force it. Clearly.
Yeah, watch the clip. You'll get the reference.
Yeah, man.
But little talk about, again, I know you guys know each other a ton, and we were talking a little bit more, especially the gunslinger thing you guys did. I know about that.
Yeah,
right?
that was
a gunslinger shootout.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had heard a couple friends were like, how come they were doing it? Like, what are these? They were like, it was like kind of like some local guitarists, a little. I'll call them out.
Well, if you get your own show, nobody invited me. I made my own.
So Vaughn was like, he was a little like, well, I can be on, and so
absolutely Vaughn could be.
Yeah,
he is a guitar slinger, no question.
So Vaughn Jackson.
Gotta step up.
I don't know if you have Vaughn, but anyway, so
we got to do that. Eric is always bothering me. Like, when are you going to do another guitar slinger show?
Another shootout.
Yeah.
We have to do version 2.
We got to do version 2. Yeah.
Yes.
And if we don't include Vaughn on version 2, I might not end up leaving that gig alive. I think
know.
that's my prediction.
You got to get some real guitar players in there.
He has to come back to the East Coast.
Has he?
Come back. No, I said he's going to have to.
Oh, he would have to.
Yeah, he would have to come.
Who should we have Who should play at the next guitar slinger shootout?
Man, that's a great question.
Because believe it or not, this is the trouble that I've got. Who is a great guitar player that actually writes his own music? Like, where are they?
Well, you know what? Do we know anybody who has their own show that can vet guests to be on that slinger? I wonder who would have a show.
Has some shows. There's all kinds.
Does
of
anybody
shows.
have a podcast that we can have guests on that kind of audition who they think and vote and stuff? I don't know.
Are you saying we should make someone else audition people for us?
Yeah, I think we should have people on the show, more guests who want to try to think they've got to throw their hat in the ring, and then. Or do it like a Sweet 16 basketball bracket style.
That would be awesome to have some sort
that
of
night,
like,
and that night, and that night. Do it that night.
Yeah.
16 guitarists.
A head cutting session at the
end.
Yeah.
You go in, you get like 2 songs, maybe 2-3 songs, cut it down, boom, who wins, who advances to the next round.
Oh,
there.
man.
Don't take our
Dude,
ideas.
I'm telling you, September slingers. Let's get September, have the whole bracket lined out.
Ooh.
I like that.
Like that. March Madness, but September slingers.
Oh, yeah. All guitar, all the time. Just write down the list.
All right, so if you're a guitar player who could be considered good, and you write your own songs, like, definitely, like, unearth yourself, because I don't know where you are. We got one right here. We got the Jake Walden. He's a monster.
I don't remember. Who won?
There was there was no winner. There was only music knows no competitions. I think.
Wow, he is very well polished in this.
No, there was the idea wasn't that there was any winners.
No, yeah, I think that's the awesome thing about music is there really is no better or worse. It's all a matter of taste because, I mean, you could talk to somebody that'll say, I hate Jimi Hendrix, but I think the Edge is the best guitar player ever. And then in the same sentence, somebody will go, not that that's me, not, love the Edge, but Hendrix, you see the shirt I got on, that's sort of my era. But, everybody's got their own opinions on stuff, and that's what's great. I mean, even if you're going to attend a show like that, there'll be something for everybody, If guitar was about technicality, it wouldn't be called making music. It'd just be called a guitar competition.
I don't like how this episode's going to go for me. You know what I mean. You know
yes,
what I mean,
you're
right?
outnumbered.
Yes,
Finally,
I'm outnumbered here. So
we are all about riffs.
you bought a riff slinger with you here.
I did. Jake's got some great riffs too. We're gonna be able to hear some of those.
Yeah, no, yeah. So, but yeah, Jake, what's your background, right? You know, and I know, again, only 26. To many, you've accomplished a lot of things in in the short amount of time, right? Where did you start out?
It's a great question. So I mean, I kind of picked my dad had an old Gibson, I think it was a Dove acoustic, and I'd mess around with it when I was little, but I never picked up the guitar until I was 12. 12 was like when I got like a Squier Candy Apple Strat, and I decided I was going to start trying to take lessons. And I took lessons, and it didn't work out. I just didn't do well in lessons. I tried to take lessons again. It didn't work out. So I kind of put the guitar down. I messed around a little bit. When I was about 16, I had been playing off and on since I was 12 to 16, and I finally had started to get where like I'm kind of figuring out how this works a little bit, got some chords. So I decided when I was 17, after I went to the Sunshine Music and Blues Fest, and I got to see like Carl Denson, Matt Schofield, Sean Chambers, Derek Trucks, Chris Robinson, Grace Potter, like this all-star lineup. And I looked at the stage, I was like, that's what I want to do. And so that year, I basically started going to open mic nights when I was 17, and people would see me at open mic nights, want me to play with their band, and I'd start playing with bands and getting work, and it kind of all went from there. So I didn't really start singing until I was 17 either, kind of out of necessity. It's like if I wanted to work more, I had to learn how to sing. And so that came later on. But yeah, I mean, I've done like a year and a half of jazz, but I'm pretty much self-taught. I mean, I really owe all of my guitar skills to Marty Schwartz on YouTube. So if anybody out there, yeah. So that's really like where I got most of my stuff, that and just watching all the great players like Stevie and Hendrix and Dwayne and Clapton and all those guys. Beck, the list goes on.
Wow. And are you originally from here?
I am. I'm born and raised. I'm actually a Broward County boy. I was born and raised down in Sunrise. I think I was actually born in Margate Medical, and kind of bounced around a little bit. Family, we moved a lot, so kind of went Margate to Derry, New Hampshire, tiny town, 1,500 people, back to Boca. And then went to Bergen County, New Jersey, Hillsdale, and then I've been in Jupiter. This will be my 16th year I've lived in Jupiter.
Awesome. So you've been around.
So I've been around. I've done a little bit of traveling. A lot of school jumping. A lot of making new friends.
Yeah, playing guitar helps, right?
For me, when I was in high school, I kind of just sat in my bedroom and played guitar. So wasn't exactly the social type in high school. I'd just sit there and, watch Live at El Macombo, and I kept trying to, like, learn all the licks to Texas Flood or whatever. And it just sort of went from there. So that was my own little oasis outside of going to new schools.
Oh, wow.
That, and then playing guitar at night, waking up and going to school the next day and just being dead tired after gigging out till 1 a.m. I also had a beard at like 17, so I kept getting the over 21 wristbands at all the bars. I would actually tell people, I'd say, I'm only 16, and they just laugh at me and give me a wristband. It's kind of demoralizing in a way.
You look older. You look like, damn, awesome. I look old. Am I old?
It's like, I'm gristled already?
Yeah.
I can't even drive a car.
Got a wristband.
So did it help growing up there playing guitar, and you said your social aspect? Did it help? Is the myth? Does it help getting chicks?
Gosh, I would have to say.
Okay, careful now how you want to go with this.
Okay,
answer.
No, this is I can't go off the hip on this. I have to be very specific. I would say it's very dependable on the type of lady that you were going after. For me, it didn't really happen, and I think that a lot of that was more because I was the kind of guy that would set up and play, and then I would just tear down and leave. I wouldn't want to talk to anybody. But if you're the social type, it might work for you. I actually met my my now wife, music. Serving at a Generation Church, she played keys and I played guitar, and that's how we.
Cool.
Yes, I haven't seen you since you got married.
Yeah.
So you went out and did the
I
marriage thing.
did the thing, man.
How is married life treating you?
It's amazing. It's it's kind of crazy. The thing that's crazy about getting married, I know everybody's different, but for me, the thing that was crazy about it was you do all this pre-planning and you think you have it figured out, and then you get to the week of and realize, oh shit, I don't have it all figured out. And then you're sort of, all these people start showing up at your wedding and you're going, is there really this many people? I've never seen this many people I know in the same room together. It was wild, but it was amazing. It was like probably the best week of my life.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank
by the
you.
way.
Yeah. How many years is it now?
Gosh, so we got married. So we've been together going on 4 years. We've got married so we did a courthouse wedding. We actually went to Chicago and got married because, we love Chicago. It's our favorite city. I love all the music history there. I just think it's a really beautiful city. And so we went there and did a courthouse wedding on the 6th and then came back on the 9th, invited a bunch of people, had a big party. I actually played my own wedding. So I gigged at my own wedding.
I hope the band gave you a discount.
So
That's a good
the
way to
band-
save money, right?
They did. The band did hook me up. Okay.
That's
So my band actually hopped up there without me and jammed White Wedding, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
so
that's funny.
I got to dance to Billy Idol, which I am absolutely the worst dancer you'll ever meet. I mean, my hips are just like pieces of steel. They don't have much movement in there. So, after that, I had to pay the guests just to witness it, is what happened.
Oh,
so,
my.
Yeah.
Open bar then.
I was in the red pretty clear at my wedding.
Well, I'm so happy for you that you got a marriage going, and that's,
Thanks, man.
That's wonderful. Having the right support crew in your life is key.
It's a big part of it. I've been really lucky that I had parents that supported playing music. And my dad always loved guitar, and he was always turning me on to, gotta listen to Bonamassa, gotta listen to Stevie, gotta listen to Hendrix, gotta do this, gotta listen to Allman Brothers. And so as he was like throwing all this stuff my way, as I started to learn guitar, he kind of gave me the roadmap to go back and, go, okay, well, let's go to Beck, let's go to Robert Johnson, let's go to, let's go to Otis Redding. Let's just go down this line and keep checking it out. And so I just was always different in that aspect. In school, all the other kids were listening to, what were they listening to at the time? They're probably listening to Drake, and I'm over here like, you guys ever heard Live at the Fillmore East? They're like, what the hell are you talking about?
That is awesome.
It's like Cardi B. I'm like, nah, it's
No.
Allman Brothers.
So that's a. So where you at today with music? You got some stuff that you going around and you gigging. You got music. What's your music situation currently?
Man, so we're putting out our second album at the end of the month here on the 23rd. We're putting out Orbit, our second release album. We're recording a live album at Guanabana's on March 6th. And then we literally go out on the Keeping the Blues Alive at Sea Cruise at Joe Bonamassa on March 18th. So we'll be playing with Joe on the boat. So that'll be a lot of fun. Joe, Grace Potter, Marshall Tucker Band, Black Country Communion, Robert John and the Wreck, Taz Naradier, Jackie Venson. So tons of awesome musicians.
Yeah.
How do you feel like going on a cruise? Do we take this
That
show on the road?
that
Or I
sounds
mean,
great.
so the
When is
on
the
water?
cruise?
March 18th to the 22nd.
Oh shit, that's coming up quick.
That's next month. Well, I probably got some gigs, dang it.
Man, just call out and come hang with us.
Right.
You don't want to fall
March
over.
18th to the 22nd.
March
So-
18th to the 22nd.
That's a
Pearl.
killer. That's a killer lineup.
Yeah, it's a killer lineup, man. I mean, I'm just gonna freak out. I'm gonna freak out looking at Glenn Hughes, honestly, because
Right.
Deep Purple and his history. It's gonna be like, whoa.
I
So,
love Black Country Communion. Those
oh
guys
man,
are
they're killer.
great.
Jason Bonham, Bonamassa. So it's weird because I'm at that stage now where, thankfully so. I mean, I'm super blessed. I'm super lucky, but I'm at that stage now where it's starting to become. I'm starting to play the same stages as the guys I was listening to when I was 6 were on, and like now I'm on the same bills as them, and so it's kind of this weird full circle moment I'm starting to witness. So.
Well, you deserve it, man.
Yeah.
You're great.
So, thanks, man. I think a lot of it is I've just been really lucky because I mean there are a lot of there's just so many great players, man. It's like a drop in the bucket. I mean, I've spent my time even in Nashville, working out in Nashville a little bit, and it's just amazing how many kids. There's always someone that's younger than you and is better than you. And so the moment I got to that, and you could even say it's recently, the moment I got to that point where I was like, it's not really so much about how good you are, it's about what you say with what you play. It's about saying something with your music, or it's about playing honestly, you know, because I know there's a bunch of people that can shred better than me, they can rip better than me, they can sing better than me, they can write better than me, but if what I do is honest and I play with my soul and I play what I feel, you know, then, you know, that's genuine, and I think people pick up on that. And I think it doesn't matter how good you are, if you play music honestly, you can do something with it.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of like when I interviewed the band when we were up in Memphis. So I tagged or documented, Kevin's trip, the band, and the journey, and all the stuff. And when I interviewed the band, that was one of the questions I asked: "What does the blues mean to you?" And I think all the guys basically said the same thing. It's a feel. It's a thing. And you can see, right, when you seem like you're pouring your soul, you're pouring your heart and feelings and emotions out, whether it's through the guitar, whether it's through the singing, right?
Right.
It's like people feel it, connect.
Yeah.
There's such an energy, and that people are taking you serious, right?
Yeah.
Not like you're just going through the motions, because you're
Right.
truly, again, the blues, right? You're singing about some sort of pain, right?
Yeah.
Something
that hurts, and I totally agree with that. And I think that you can even take that into whether it's, directing or it's painting, you're an artist, or if you're a singer, no matter what you do, like, you can express yourself. People express themselves differently. Some people, Robert Frost, Walt Whitman, they can express themselves with their pen. Some people can't express themselves with anything other than their guitar. I might not be able to tell you how I feel, but I can play how I feel. And so if I can play how I feel, then you'll get it. I won't have to use as many words,
Well said, man.
So what is that song, that Harrison song? My Guitar.
While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Yeah, right. Oh, great song.
Mm-hmm.
Great song.
Classic.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, that's awesome. And Jake, so that's the cruise is, like you said, a little bit of starstruck, or a little bit kind of like is this real?
Yeah.
Like I said, right? That's no, and you deserve it, bro.
Thanks,
I know.
man.
Yeah, no, and like I said, we're fans. See you play, support local. You put your time in, you've put your chops, you've got, you're a fucking gunslinger too, man. Right?
Yeah, that's shit. I'll wear the title. I'm not gonna shy away from it. Yeah. Got to be humble, but at the same time, you do put in the work, and you play, and you do it honestly, and the goal was to be able to make money and to do it, and so every step you get closer to that, you're thankful for, but also you're like, hell yeah, this is what I work for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, there's no shame to be like that, right? You've worked hard for it, and it's okay to kind of like, yeah, damn, I did this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. Very, very cool. So locally here, where's some of the places that you kind of play here locally too? Man,
we do a lot of I would say locally, like Guanabon is a hit. We do really well there. We've done Double Roads, Terra Firmata we've done in the past. We got a Biscuit show coming up March 2nd. We're headlining there, and then we're happy to have Lowercase Blues Band. They're going to play with us too. That'll be fun. We're playing we even do we'll do the Cocky Joe's Taco Tiki gigs. Those are awesome. You come up, you hang out, people are just enjoying, and they come and they just dance, listen to the music. So we get around, we play anywhere we can. Anywhere we can afford to make $100 a guy or close to that, we're doing it. So We're doing Rudy's down in Lake Worth. That's another great one. We're doing the Taste of Lake Worth Festival coming up. I don't know if I'm allowed to disclose this, but they are reopening the Bamboo Room, so that could be something for the future.
Yes.
So
that's a great, yeah.
So yeah, man, we get around.
You get around, right?
We get around in a good way, I guess.
Look at the camera and say that Jake Walden gets around.
The Jake Walden Band, we get around.
Yeah.
They're gonna clip that, but
Exactly.
Get around.
Yes. It's easy how people just walk into the trap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, well, we're gonna make you famous, Jake. Don't worry.
It's famous or black. It's like famous or blackmail. One of the two.
Or maybe blacklisted.
Yeah.
That's a real gray area. If you're famous.
Blackballed or blacklisted.
Yeah.
That's what we're calling this podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, too funny. So yeah, that's Yeah, like I said, I again, glad to have you on. I know I've seen you, come on Brad's show. Again, you chat out through our good friend there, Brad Brock, the Jams and Cocktails. Again, promoting music, promoting local music, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this is great. So definitely thanks for coming, hanging out with us here in our glorious studio, right?
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. This is actually a really cool room. You're kind of shocked because I walked in and I was like, well, shit, I'm either going to get towed or I'm going to be in a podcast. It's going to be one of the two. I'm happy it's the latter.
Yeah. Right.
Do you want to introduce him to somebody? Our third permanent.
Yeah, we gotta. We want to introduce you to the silent member of our cast.
Okay.
Here, Jackson.
Hello, Jackson. It's nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
The Stonewall. His name is Jackson.
He loves it. He gets it.
Is it Ulysses S. Grant around the corner?
Possibly.
Robert E. Lee, the General Lee's the car.
Are we just going to bring back all the Civil War guys? That's what we're going to do.
That's right. The South will rise again.
I don't think he appreciates the dad joke. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
he's not a dad yet, so that you know of.
and where is it?
No.
Jackson's got a nice knob to hold on to right here.
So if you want to do some rock climbing later, we'll let you.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
Dude, I'll get out my my spikes. I'm ready to go.
I think that K12 you can K2 K whatever.
This is the closest thing you're going to get to Kilimanjaro in
There you
Florida.
go, exactly.
Yeah.
With a lot of the right angles and editing, I'm sure it'll look like we're in Nepal.
Right. I could free solo that.
Speaking of Nepal, everybody that gave me advice about going to Memphis said the same thing. It's cold there. And, just a meteorological bit of trivia. January 18th is typically the coldest day of the year in North America. And I see the logic in having, the International Blues Challenge when entire downtown, section of a city is shut down because it's the height of their low season. But, to show, all the people in Canada were fine. They were Canadians, you could tell who was from Canada because they were walking around in shorts.
Right.
2-degree weather. But yeah, I was not prepared for the bracing, death-like cold of 0 degrees.
Was it real windy too?
Yeah.
Oh man, that goes right through you.
Mm-hmm.
It was awful.
Yeah, that goes right through
And
you.
that stuff did not. It was never got above freezing. It was once we got there, that packed snow, and the roads weren't really cleared either.
It was nice because, after a day or two, it went up to 28 and it felt good. Like, I didn't have to dress up so much.
It's warm.
Yeah. Then the last day we were there, when we were at the finals, that wind kind of came in. It was, we were standing, it was pretty, but like Kevin said, it's a great time of the year to kind of bring people to here to help kind of, a quiet period, 39 years they've been doing it? Is that what it was?
Yeah, this is the 39th edition.
So, I have a funny story about this. You can ask Lashavo because Lashavo was in the car. When we went to Memphis in 2018 for the IBCs. We wanted to go out and go check out Beale and go see the clubs. And so we were in like a La Quinta Inn or something like that. We were off. We were down the street from Automatic Slims I think it's Automatic Slims down there. And we had to go down this big hill. And I'm a Floridian, so I've never driven an ice. I had just driven an ice that week driving to Memphis because Alabama and Mississippi, the truck was doing this on the highway. And I'm like, all right. And so we come to the top of this hill, and it's a red light, so I hit my brakes, and I realized that I'm not stopping. And so the car keeps going, and I get to the point where we're on the decline, and the car just keeps sliding, and I have the brakes locked up. And I'm just sliding down this hill. And I'm just looking at Lashavo, and Lashavo looked back at me, and I just looked down, and we slid through the intersection, ran the red light, of course, parked the car on Beale, and I got out the car, and we went to a couple clubs or whatever, and I looked at Lashavo, and I said, you're from Connecticut, why the fuck weren't you driving?
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's a good question.
It's like, I thought you were going to say is, all right, I'm not moving this car. I'm done.
No. I mean, you let the Floridian drive through the ice.
That's funny.
Yeah, the first day we were there, we had to show up for the first, we decided to Uber everybody because, I didn't even trust the car to function. I figured oil was gelled up and it wouldn't even start. So we Ubered, and all the Uber guys were getting hazard pay just on one day of Ubering back and forth cost us $200.
Because the town was like totally shut down. Like we got to about Mississippi. Kevin's driving, and all of a sudden we made great time getting up there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we hit Mississippi where it was starting to get the freezing, and then it just took forever to get that last mile. But the roads
last 2 hours took us 6 hours.
Yeah. And then the roads in Memphis weren't really. I don't remember seeing much of a snowplow clearing those roads. Those roads were totally
they were
for the whole week.
Yeah, they were covered.
So I don't know. I mean, we the Airbnb we stayed at was like next to a school. I don't think we ever saw any
school,
kids.
No, the school. That was a school? I thought it was like an abandoned field.
Where'd you guys stay? Like what area?
It was
Midtown, they call it.
I don't know.
Oh, Midtown.
Yeah,
Midtown's actually pretty nice. You got Lafayette.
The house
and all
was
of that.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
It was
yes.
about like in normal situation it was like 5 minutes away, but
Yeah.
with the snow it was like 20 minutes away.
Yeah, as long as you stay out of Orange Mound, you're
I don't
you're
know
good.
where we were. We were on what was the name of that street we were on? I can't remember. Anyway, it was close. It's close to Beale.
Yeah, it was. It was not too bad. And and then in the last day, the downtown area was water pipes got busted and froze. The pipes got frozen, and that's a whole nother. Watch the
We had
previous
to
episode.
go
we talked
outside
about
to
it,
use
yeah.
the restroom. No running water in the Orpheum Theater.
Oh, dude.
It's
Oh my
25 degrees
God.
outside. We're going out to a line
Porta-john.
of porta potties. Can
You?
you imagine?
Well, I have I had a different. So, I connected when I went. I connected with some people. I actually ended up like dating this girl. If my wife sees this was way before your time, babe. But so I went back. I would go back periodically to Memphis to go hang out and check out stuff. And I made a good group of friends there. And I went back one year and I left. And like 2 days after I left, somebody drove by the house I stayed at and shot up the whole house and hit like two people in my friend group.
No.
Yeah, everybody was okay, but it was just bizarre because I was like staying in this sorority house for the University of Memphis and like right next to the school, and apparently 2 days later, right, pretty much like
Whoa, Jake, slow down there.
We're staying at a sorority
I was
house.
staying at
let's
an
not
old
gloss
sorority.
over that.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
staying at an
bro.
old sorority house. From
So
the
we're like
University of
you
Memphis.
were the hazing for all the sorority girls. Is that
Yeah,
what they
yeah,
do?
this
well,
is
it was
why he
like-
prefaced this whole conversation about with his wife.
Way
right?
before his wife's
Before
time.
you, I stayed at a
Clearly.
sorority house. So was it like older women?
He was.
No, they were all college. They were all college chicks.
You're gonna have to start calling
But-
him Jake Party Favor Walden.
No,
Yeah.
I did not. There's nothing crazy going on that I
Okay.
couldn't talk about legally. But I mean, nothing crazy. So,
We twisted that story around a little bit.
Yeah.
yeah, we
Sorry, none of that's true. We just made it up.
no one was harmed in the making of this podcast. I think is
no,
the important.
definitely no animals were harmed at
Yeah.
least.
But that's crazy though. It's like almost like the movie just came out there. Your own version of Bob Marley shooting up a house, right?
I know, it's crazy.
So,
That's wild.
yeah. So
So Memphis is a fun place.
it's
Great city.
It's like that was the thing was like there was a couple times and in between the shows and at nighttime I thought about wanting to go down to the end of Beale to see the river and kind of all that. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, it's nighttime. I'm not gonna venture, because again, by myself or don't know the area,
Right.
things like that, And but yeah, it's definitely a place we want to go back to when it was a little warmer, right?
When it's a little warmer, we'll definitely go
Man,
back.
Yeah.
you have to check out the pyramid and Mud Island and the Mud Island Amphitheater and all that. It's
Oh
really
yeah.
Cool.
It's really cool.
All right. So,
All right.
All right. We're gonna
Mud Island
we're
Amphitheater.
gonna book Jake's travel agency.
We're gonna
is
do.
help
We're
us,
gonna do a
book our-
guitar
yeah.
slinger shootout. Florida Man does Memphis.
Florida Man does Memphis.
There you go.
We're gonna be doing. We'll do a gig there. We'll play at Tin Roof, or we can even play at Alfred.
Play at Alfred's. We'll do the
Just pull-
Florida Man
just
show.
Just pull up like in a parking lot or something.
Oh, dude.
Just get a trailer and
Trailer-
Get a
just-
fold-out trailer and a generator.
That's
You
right.
could make it like Ribs and Rhythms. You guys had to have gotten
Oh
ribs.
my God! There you go.
You guys had to have gotten ribs, right?
That
Yes,
is
we did.
awesome.
Yes, we did.
Where'd you
Ribs
get
and
them
ribs.
at?
I don't know. Oh, where
Where's the
did
corner? The little cafe in the corner there.
we? Oh, the Blues Cafe.
Cafe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was the best.
Funny, honestly, and I might get shit on for this, and it's been a while since I've been. The best ribs I had there were at O'Sullivan's, like on the corner.
Oh, the Irish place.
The
Right there by
Irish
Silky
place,
O'Sullivan's.
They had badass ribs.
The Irish place had the best
Dude,
ribs.
they had
That's
badass
hilarious.
ribs. They did.
That's hilarious.
I'm telling you.
So
Now, I've been to Memphis and gone there just for the barbecue, but I can't even, for the life of me, I can't remember what the name is. It was like all the way on the other end of town from where we were at, and for the life of me, I can never remember where we went.
yeah, it was tough. Well, the travel was tough to kind of get around. That was the other thing.
Yeah, half the city was closed
man.
down.
You're just trying to get to the gig and get out.
and
Yeah.
not freeze.
That was my main concern because, like, just the idea of traveling those 5 miles was a life-threatening situation with the way the snow was all over everything.
Man, and let me tell you another thing that people don't really think about: your instruments when to that cold and that humidity change. You know, you were used to down here playing in the warm Florida humidity. You go to Memphis. I remember when we were there. This band came from California and they flew their instruments over, and the dude pulled out his bass and the headstock was just snapped off. Oh, I mean, just from the humidity, he didn't slack his strings, and the tension just snapped it.
Dang.
And I remember I got in my hotel room, man, and I had my strings slacked already. And I fanned my cases every night to make sure nothing crazy would happen. And sure enough, people were having to rent instruments.
Oh.
I was just going to music stores. Like, I think it was, I don't know if it's called Martin Music or something. It was a really awesome music store in Memphis. Like, because Memphis, the Gibson Custom Shop. So I walked in, it's just all like custom shop Gibsons, like all around me. And I went there because I had to go buy a spring reverb pedal because I always use reverb when we were playing out of basements because you use the stock amps they have. And I was playing completely dry because thank God you get that extra quarterfinal night to warm up. And so I'm like buying a rig, and there's like 3 people and they're all renting instruments and stuff to try to recover because all their instruments were messed up from the travel.
That is scary.
That's
So-
got to be like, yeah, to make it that far. And again, for you guys, the guitars, that is an extension of yourselves.
That was one reason I was glad we drove, because we took the bass and the guitar in the car with us.
Yeah.
And the cymbal bag. And, Lefty, they had a B3 on stage, so he didn't have to bring anything. But, yeah, I've done a lot of flying with instruments, and I would never, unless I had, like, a for real, serious ATA flight case for my guitar, I would not fly it.
I'm totally with you. I've had to check a guitar twice because I recorded an album in Buckhead with Tyler Greenwell and my buddy Damien. Tyler actually is Derek Truck's drummer. He plays Teskey Trucks band. But I had to check my guitar both ways through Delta, and I would never do it again. It's just nerve-wracking. I've seen so many horror stories too. Joe Bonamassa actually buys an extra plane ticket just so he can put his guitar next to
It's
him.
worth it. Years ago, I'm not going to say how many, but I used to fly a lot with my guitar in a gig bag. And, this was pre 9/11 and all that, so everything was way lax. And I would have my gig bag in at every stage, like the sky caps, the people at the front desk, the people at TSA's checkpoint, the people at the gate, the people, like the stewardess standing in the doorway when you walked in. They all said the same thing. Oh, I'm sorry, sir, you can't put your guitar on the plane. There's no room for it. And then I'll be like, no worries, I'll be fine. And so the last person to say it word for word was the person in the plane. And they're like, well, there's no room for it. And they all have a closet right there by the door. I would just open the door, and I mean, like, there's no room for it in this empty closet? Okay, thanks. I'm going to go sit down. That's the way it went every single time.
It's a lot of, listen, all right, they could have an unexpected incoming shipment of 15 jackets. You don't know.
I don't know, but that's the way it was back then.
Or people coming from Florida having to carry their big winter coats.
Oh, yeah.
to go, or vice versa. So, very crazy. So yeah, music. So, I know there was a story here just recently about a passing of a big name, right? And for you, all y'all country fans here, Toby Keith, right? Big name, big part of the community. I think it's safe to say, would you agree? Was he still a little old school, part of the new bridge into the old,
Toby
or
Keith.
old school, new school? Yeah.
Toby Keith was badass.
And you have a story. You have a little story here, right?
I had the honor of working with Toby Keith, and actually my son had a chance to meet him as well. So I'll tell these stories. I've been telling them. So I got a chance to work with Toby Keith, and it was at the Highlands County Fair. And so the thing with and he played the Highlands County Fair on Valentine's Day. And I was married at the time. My wife was a giant Toby Keith fan. So I called her like on the 12th or the 13th. I'm like, hey, guess who I'm working with? And she's like, who? And I'm like, Toby Keith. She starts screaming. So I'm like, you want to come? And she's like, yeah. So she drove over and hung out with the crew and all. And so she's like getting all fangirlish and stuff, super weird. And I'm like, all right, listen, like this is my job. Like you can't get all fanish. Like you'll embarrass me. Like you can't do it. You know, this is where this is backstage. This is where artists feel safe. You get all fanish, it's going to freak them out. It's going to ruin the show. You cannot do that. And she's like, okay, I'll be fine. And so the setup for this whole situation is that at this particular venue, in order to get from the tour bus to the backstage area, you had to like walk through the admission line.
Okay, that's interesting.
It was inconvenient, but it's the only logistic way that could fit a bus in there. So sitting backstage waiting for the artist to come, you could always tell because everybody outside's screaming, right? So it's literally 20 feet to get from the door of the tour bus to the backstage door. But here there are like 20,000 women wanting to jump his bones, and he's got to fight them all off to get across there, right? So we're all like, okay, Toby's almost here. And then all of a sudden, you know, the screams are getting louder, and then you start hear the door rattle. It opens. Toby he gets pulled back into the crowd. You know, he's trying to walk into the backstage area, and finally he fights his way in, and you know shuts the door on a bunch of arms and pushes them in, and so closes and locks the door, and he turns around. He's like, whew. And then my wife comes flying at him. It's Toby Keith! And she freaking tackles the guy. It like she's hanging off of his neck. And he just looks at me like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, I'm so sorry, man. It's my wife. She's a huge fan. I don't know what to tell you. I'm so sorry. It was bad. Like, she totally embarrassed me. Like, it wasn't cool. So, poor guy, the only place he felt safe, he got attacked by a fan. So, that's my fault. Sorry. And then I got a chance to work with him a few times, actually, you know, as a sound guy. You know, he and his band played a lot of the stages that I was working, and got to know him a little bit. Super cool guy. And then after that, we got the Iraq War. My son is a Marine, and Toby Keith did all those USO tours.
Yeah, he did USO tours.
So my son was a track driver, which is like an armored tank that carries troops. So it's like a 20-person tank, basically.
Right.
So his job was to take them from the one base to the other in this armored vehicle to go to the next USO show. So they're driving along, and it turns out my son is big into fishing, and Toby Keith's guitar player is from Vero, and they got to talking. They fished the same fishing holes, you know, and this and that, and so they get a good thing going on. And they're like, what can you do? Like, we want to make a big entrance. Like, what can you do? So what my son does. So they're in this giant hangar with a stage and, like, everybody's there. He drives up right into the middle where the crowd is and starts doing 360s in this huge tank and then puts off the smoke screen. So they're like spinning and smoke, and while it's spinning, each band member jumps out and gets up on stage, and he gave him a super cool. And they wanted an autograph, and the only thing they had was like this 4x4 piece of like a 4x4 piece of wood. And so Toby and the whole band signed it, and what they did was they took that and they strapped it to the bumper, and they used it to break in buildings. Toby Keith got to break buildings in.
That brings a whole new spin on the meeting, brought to you courtesy.
Yeah, they would be. Yeah, well, they would be bashing in walls, be like, "How do you like me now?"
that is awesome.
That's a great story,
man. But I mean, I kind of been following him on his journey too, because I'm a two-time cancer survivor, and so man, I've been down that road before, and just such a great guy. I mean, started his foundation, I think a little over 10 months ago. He started his cancer foundation, and just seeing him talk in interviews, wanting to play again on stage, and just wanting to live his life, and cancer just something he dealt with, but it wasn't a part of him, and just seemed like such a down to earth, just a regular American good guy. You know what I mean? Just a family man, like, and kind of what you were saying earlier. It's kind of part of that old school, that you don't really see a lot of anymore. Like, they kind of stayed out of the Nashville limelight a little bit, almost. You know what I mean? Like, more with his family in Oklahoma, and true to his roots, and true to being a cowboy, and I feel like you get a lot less of that now. Just not that I'm trying to say anything bad about Nashville or anything, but now it's more that machine. It's that industry, and he's just one of that last of that generation.
Right. Because I think that's a perfect way to say it. He was kind of last of that party. The Garth and Alan Jackson's in that group, right?
Oh yeah,
Dwight Yoakam. Again, I'm not a country guy by mean, but some of those guys that are just on that cusp before maybe the late 90s.
The trendsetters, the icons that the machine emulates.
I really think Garth was the turning point for that. I think Garth, like Garth is like the Jesus of the country music movement for going
it's
to
like
pop.
Old,
you know what I mean?
Old Testament, New Testament.
Yeah, like he was like right there. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that he was really that the start of that transition to that more pop, and it's about the show, and the show he puts on, the production, and
and very crossover.
Yeah,
it was huge crossover.
Chris Gaines.
The whole Chris Gaines thing. Yeah.
But
I remember that for sure.
Like a lot of his covers he would do was rock covers or things he grew up with. I know he was a big Kiss fan also, right? Things like that. So So here's to R.I.P. Toby Keith. Here's your Red Solo Cup tribute to there. So
in spirit.
Yeah, there you go.
No question.
Yeah,
Toby is writing songs for that Greg gig in the sky, and no doubt there was a giant red Solo Cup full of goodness waiting for him in heaven. Thank you for everything, Toby.
Well, thanks. Yeah, that's a great sharing that story, Kevin, especially the part with your son. And, like you said, he was very heavily involved in the USO stuff. And,
he
and
did
again,
like 10 or 12 USO tours.
And again, the least somebody can do as a, artist, musician, or whatever, that they can go over and entertain and spend some time with people in the military and that are fighting for our freedoms or
serving our country.
Whether you agree with the situation or not, this is what to kind of don't forget that they're not forgotten about when they're far from home, and a little so stories of things like that. So, well, I think we're this has definitely been a real good episode here. This has been
no question. Jake, thanks for being here.
Yeah,
this has been so good. We didn't even get to half of what we want to do. Hey, will you come back next week for the next episode?
I'll come back next week for the next episode.
Really? Cool.
I mean, if you did 2 in a row with me, I think people would get a little sick of me. But I mean, I'll do it.
No, you can't get.
I imagine how we feel. Like we're at like episode 22 now. Like,
you can't get tired of Jake from State Farm.
Yeah, well, he's not wearing his
I'm
khakis.
khaki-less. Yeah.
He's in disguise tonight, so for sure. But yeah, are you willing to put a song up for us to review?
Man, I've got something in the works. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to take this plunge.
Okay, all right.
So what we'll do is we'll review your song and we'll decide if it's the riff or the rhythm that is the most key element of the song.
I think this pressure's on us, because are we going to do this in front of him?
This will be the first time that we've shredded someone to their face.
I know. So we need a bouncer, somebody from the stage.
We have a waiver for you to sign.
Okay, I'll do it. I'm gonna render my services.
It'd be great if you ran out of here and totally fuck you guys.
Oh, we could do a whole one of those
yeah.
fake, what do they call those? The
reality TV
fake
shows,
rivalries. Just for publicity, we'll pretend like we hate each other.
You guys are technically rivals, right? You are rival gunslingers.
We're rival rival guitar slingers.
Oh, guitar singer. Yeah,
We shoot other people, but we play guitar together.
All right.
Legally.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Legally.
Just, ballistics gel we shoot.
So what do you got coming up here by mid part, second half of February, Jake? What do you got coming up?
Man, we're doing the Taste of Lake Worth Festival. I think we got a couple of gigs up in Stewart at Taco Tiki and that kind of stuff. We're really trying to push that big Biscuit show in the beginning of March 2nd, trying to move some tickets for that.
Biscuit is down in
Boca.
Now, that's the Funky Biscuit. Right?
Yep, Funky Biscuit. Right. We actually were going to do that the Jensen Beach Amphitheater, the mansion for the city, that this past week. That's getting moved because of rain, so hopefully it's going to fall on March the 3rd. So we got a bunch of stuff coming up. We got a really busy end of February and March coming up here. So, and then we got the album release on the 22nd. So we release that album on the 22nd, and then we're back on that KTBA cruise on March 18th. So we got
That's a full schedule of super cool stuff, man.
Yeah, man. We're lucky to be doing it. And we're going to try to
you
do
really
it the best
are
we can.
Great gunslinger and a
Thank
great
you,
songwriter.
sir.
Like you totally rock, man.
Thank you,
cool.
sir. I can only sniff so much of my own music for so long before I get high on the bullshit. So
No, seriously, just so you know. All right, well then. Where could people judge for themselves? Like, how do they find you online?
That's a great question. If you look up the Jake Walden Band, because there is another Jake Walden Band. There's another Jake Walden that's a musician.
Where is this imposter, and how do we get rid of him?
I don't know. He's a piano guy. Apparently, he's pretty good. So I've never heard him, but
you got to collaborate.
We have to do the Brothers Walden or the Jakers Walden.
Jake Walden squared.
Something, yeah. Jake Walden and PEMDAS. So
and you got to find a bass player named Jake Walden.
If we have a
drummer named Jake Walden,
the band Walden,
the Waldens,
it'll be the next biggest.
Play at some big pond.
Oh yeah, I would love to do it. We'll just do some big reservoir gig, acoustic, unplugged. With we'll wear only like serapes, and I think it'd be a real hit.
Yeah, right on.
Okay, this episode started getting weird there. Well, at least we went into the end.
That shit's like a left turn for sure.
We specialize in left turns.
So, all right. So, thanks, Jake. Can't wait till you come back on next week there. We do the review, talk a little bit more about some of your projects and tomfoolery that we'll have for you on the next episode. So again, this is the
Riffs and
Rhythms podcast there. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and go check out local music. Go check out Jake Walden, and cheers.
Cheers.